the 3 teachers that if they have the amount of experience and they were retiring, it would be there. It would be budgeted for, it would be consistent.
There's no way to get a variance around the contractual language?
No. The only way to change that would be to, when negotiations comes up again. It would be one that we open.
Or unless there was a memorandum of understanding between the unit and the school district to open the contract for this specific purpose, to talk about this language, which is never an easy thing to do.
It's better done when we just negotiate that.
Can I ask you one more thing, please?
Please.
You know, you just asked about an issue of, well, what if we changed it to 4,000 and the other 49 goes in to pay it? No, we can't do that because it's written in the contract. If we go by the contract, and if the contract is the Bible and that's it, it doesn't say in here that I can't use it. No matter what the intent was, it does not say that I can't use it for my retirement fund, regardless of what your intent was, regardless of what my intent was. I believe you that your intent was to do something good for teachers. I have no qualms with that. But when it gets down to my livelihood and the rest of my life, Craig's absolutely right. It's going to cost me $30,000 over 20 years, assuming I live 20 years, which I plan on. And it's going to cost the school district $8,900. That's a big difference in my life versus the school district's life. If it said something different, if it was specific, you know, I mean, if we're going to go by the contract, it doesn't say anything other than, you know, you get $8,000 if you have 25 years and 20 years in the district.
Good question that I may sound dumb, but I get to ask the dumb questions too. Are the teachers allowed to contribute to their retirement? Say we cut him a check for $8,040, and he then dumps it into his retirement as a contribution that takes us out of the matching side. Does the TRS allow that?
Look like you're looking at me.
I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you guys.
Otherwise, you could just put as much money as you wanted in.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No.
Okay.
You know, and as we talk about this contract language, it's new ground, it's new territory, it's new language that we're looking at. It doesn't say that he can't treat it that way, but then again, it doesn't say that he has to treat it that way. You know, we're working through a lot of stuff here. One of the things that I had to fall back on is yes, it wasn't easy. And, you know, I truly respect the job that Mr. Janago has done. You know, if at all possible, I would have been happy and glad to have said, let's treat it this way. But where we're at is I get wrapped back into the past practice of others who have taken previous incentives as lump sum payments. And when the language is vague and unclear, you fall back to your past practices. And that's what I fell back to in the review of this. And so, okay, we've got to treat this the same as we've treated any other situation in all fairness and try to make sure that we are fair in our application. So that's how I came to the conclusion I did. If the board were, at this point in time, to make the determination that, yes, teachers that take active participation in the early retirement incentive program may use this money as termination pay, then what my office will do is we will go into the retirement fund and we will evaluate the retirement fund and make sure that we pay out of the retirement fund the money necessary to cover the costs of this.
Can I ask a question? I understand the whole thing about past practices, how things were done in the past. But has there ever been an incident where a teacher that qualified and received these funds requested to have it put in their retirement?
No, because the forms that they fill out, everything that they sign on here, it specifically is worded all throughout here that it is not termination pay, and that's where it falls is, we're trying to update the wording because of the change in the contract, but yeah, everything that they sign for the incentive programs, it states right there that it's not termination pay, and in regard to that, that's where it's been. We have
So we're just
to
caught
give
in a very
everyone-
new
That's
process.
what we're going past practice, is they turn in their resignation, then they fill out the little form, and they circle what they've chosen in the past. Like I said, they've gotten a lump sum or health insurance payment, and now it's in the contract, and that's not the option, it's just the one lump sum. But, so it's stated in the paperwork that it's not part of that.
But how is it you're allowed to change the paperwork after the fact? That's what I don't think is fair.
All I was doing was changing dates and the amounts and a little bit of the wording to match the
Well,
contract.
the little bit of the wording is pretty important, is what it
No, it's
says.
just, I was just.
No, I
that's
read
what
the
it-
new one, and it's different from the old one. And
it's-
this one specifically
Oh,
states,
yes, on,
so
I
it was changed
PRS.
after the fact, and that
Um,
doesn't seem fair to me.
Well, it's not, it was just wording that was suggested to us, we had a sentence that was added.
After
along
I
with
brought
change.
the issue up.
Well, yeah, because we had no idea that there was
Right,
not.
so I'm saying, that, well, how is that fair, that you can change it? Now, oh, geez, we have a problem, so I guess we better go back and change the wording so that it
There was
says,
changes.
But I
There
think,
was
can't
changes
have
wording
I think
on
at
it not
this
being
point,
included.
that form isn't really an issue that we should be hanging our hats on at this point, because it's not applicable right now. What is applicable right now is, a request that's made before the board right now for this to be treated as termination pay, and for the board to give consideration to, that claim based off of what's in front of them in the letter that I have provided, and with the letter you've provided, the statements you've made here today, statements I've made here today.
but if you're quoting past practice, this current form was not written during those other situations. So it's a whole new ballgame, and it just doesn't seem right that you can change the form after you find out that it's a problem, and that it wasn't done correctly.
Yeah, in
So that's
past
my
practice-
issue.
In past practice, we have not had this money used as termination pay. You know, whether it was explained to people that way or not, it just has never been brought up that way. It's never been treated that way.
Right, and it was also
That's the
never
only
in
thing that I'm
contract.
trying to say is that's how, when I review it from the past practice side, I'm reviewing it from that point of view.
I would just like to, I'm sorry.
I guess I have a little difficulty citing past practice when, in the past, these were sporadic offerings, they were never contractual, it was never, included in the contract that this incentive would be there. And, now that it's contractual, we're citing past practice, and it would seem to me if you're citing past practice, then the form that was used in the past would be the form that represents past practice. And if it indeed doesn't say anything about not being able to use it as part of your last 3 years' salary. So I'm having a little trouble deciding, understanding how we're using past practice for part of it and not past practice for the remainder of it.
No, I was just gonna say, I know Gary for years, if anybody qualifies for this, if it's him. My question is, we do have the money in the retirement funds?
It wasn't budgeted
It
this
wasn't
year.
budgeted in, we may have them in. I'd have to ask it, take a short recess from Mrs. Lewis to track that down and verify it for me.
And my other question is, I wonder how much flack we would take for doing this, where we've been accused of mishandling, misusing, mismanaging and all that. I personally would love to be able to grant it to Gary.
No.
Yeah, Gary is $5, and in this, one weak line in your letter to Mr. McGee, Gary, in contract law, there is an implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. I think as a